get out the comfort zone constantly.
My mental started to actually take a shift,
There was so much about myself I still needed to figure out.
find happiness through going through the struggle.
Still a scary world though. I think that world was scarier than Journey walking into it.
Not everywhere you go, you're just going to walk in and be the top dog.
Who gives a fuck about what you feel, what you want to do? It's about what you have to do.
General Tax in the building.
Yeah, man.
How are you, my brother?
Chilling and soft. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being the first guest and appearing on the first episode of the Been There Felt That podcast. Greatly appreciated.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Obviously, we've known each other for a very long time. I mean, we started grade 8 high school together, different boarding houses, but then going straight through that whole experience into eventually living with each other for 2 years in university in Pretoria, and now on our own journeys in the real world. How are you doing? How's 2025 treating you?
Nah, things have been good. Man. Really can't complain. Like you're saying, the whole journey that we've been through, specifically from grade 8 all the way throughout high school, up until Pretoria, varsity life, and up until now, it's kind of crazy that you're saying that in terms of the grade 8 scene, looking back on it now, with the whole, our interactions together, new boys camp, you being in a different house, me starting off with my friends here, but then collectively coming together and sharing experiences with each other, but not necessarily being as close. And then slowly building that bond over time to get to a point where we actually reunite later on after the whole grade 12 phase. And now we actually realize that we have a stronger bond than we actually initially thought. So it's been a crazy journey for one, for sure. But I want to ask, for you, in that grade 8 experience, let me say specifically, what was one thing that you feel was one of the first things that we did connect on that made you think, oh, this guy...
Oh, what a question, hey? I think a big part of it was definitely sports. I don't think we were the most fit or active people when we arrived at high school. And it's not like we connected at New Boys Camp. I think New Boys Camp, it's your dorm, you know, you're really getting that. But I still remember B team basketball, self-proclaimed captain over here.
No, I'm saying people can.
I think it really helped, you know, just having those training sessions, really connecting as a team, finding out, you know, who's your boy. And then obviously over time, it just became football, rugby. We were very in the common spaces. I give you football, you were ahead of me. But it was nice to be in similar teams through the other sports. I think a big thing also was the boarding house factor. As much as we were separating boarding houses, we knew there was some similarities of living a different life to how day boys did, having a bit more of responsibility for yourself. And you know, the boarding life, people think from outside perspective, it's this whole scene of movies, you know, where it's like, it's so rough, and I loved it personally. I don't know your opinions on it.
No, grade 8 was interesting, I'll say that much. Especially going from a co-ed school like myself to all boys school, it being high school, having that daunting perception of, wow, I'm entering the big leagues now, as you'd see in movies and stuff like that. Your high school time would be portrayed as something where you'd really want to push, strive for goals, achievements, aspirations, all that, and be disciplined, but also have a good time. Build your friendships that they say will last a lifetime. So coming into grade 8 for me was very eye-opening. Say one thing, I got put in my place pretty quickly.
Don't we all? Wow.
Can't lie.
Straight off the bat, I think we all got
Straight off
humbled
the
so
bat,
quickly.
where, the one big thing, like drills, for example, humbled me to the finest degree, I'll say. And also instilled a lot of, how do I say, disciplined values within me. The whole thing of team buildings, now it's, you struggle with your dorm. You guys fight together. It doesn't matter if one guy messes up, we're all gonna go through it together. So that was a big thing for me in grade 8, or that I learned, as well as in that understanding, not in necessarily any bad way, but understanding the hierarchy of certain things. Obviously, have respect for your elders, people who are grade above you. Again, coming from a co-ed school where everyone was, anyone could say anything. A grade 2 could come disrespect a grade 7. And you'd be like, yo, tough, you just have to hold your own. But in a system like that, it was more, you're gonna respect your grade 8s. I mean, your grade 9s, your grade 10s, your
You're bottom of the food chain.
yeah, you bottom of the food chain, and some people might see that as a negative aspect, but I also do see the positive of it in terms of understanding that not everywhere you go, you're just going to walk in and be the top dog. You're going to have to go through the systems and work your way through it, through effort, struggle, whatever that case may be. And that's one thing, on like looking back on it now and thinking about it, it's something that I respected about you, especially in grade 8 when I don't know if it's a deep thing for you, but talking about basketball, how I'd always see you there working with your dorm mate in terms of basketball, especially with having a bit of an asthma problem, you know what I'm saying? But you'd always still put in the hard work, mornings, training, pushing through no matter what. So that also gave me a little motivation and made you stand out in my head as someone that I acknowledge, for lack of a better term. Be like, wow, I have big respect for this guy. I actually want to get to know him more, see what he's about, because I appreciate everything that he's been going through and that he puts himself through. So for you, was that something that you also realized in yourself in terms of those times, basketball training? Was that just something that was naturally you, especially coming from primary school into high school, or was there also a change for you where you're like, well, okay, this is a shock, this is interesting, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm grateful that you saw that, and thanks for your kind words. And I mean, you know, you look back and I never would have thought that it was like that from your perspective to mine. It was very different. But before I get started on that, I like the way, you know, we're talking about humbling and how the perspective of everything in high school changes. You kind of come from like this weird gap of grade 7 where you're a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And then you become this small fish in a massive pond in high school. I mean, I love that you also felt that in grade 8, that you respect your elders and you get put in your place. It's nothing I expected what the school was going to be like, not what you did.
Facts.
And I'm grateful for it because, like you said, it makes you realize the world's not going to be easy. You're not always going to be top dog. You got to work your way and, you know, go through life. As you say that, I took that inspiration of basketball and working so hard, that discipline, like you said, drills. For context, for anyone that doesn't know, drills was just a punishment in terms of if you got enough demerits, or we used black dots, that you would have to do extreme fitnesses that the matrix would watch over you, but nothing too laborish. It was very intense, high training, in my opinion, from my eyes. I did it once. I was a very goody two-shoes back in the day. But the basketball, I mean, we had sheeps and shepherds. Sheeps was someone we had to look after in grade 9. Shepherds was you are the person that looks after the grade 8. And my shepherd every day would wake up at 5 and go to the basketball courts, you know. And not that he stowed it upon me or forced me. He didn't even tell me. I mean, it was just something like, wow, you know, this guy does this. And eventually when I started noticing it, it gives that older brother vibes, you know, of like, wow, I want to be like that. So I took it from him and started going. And then obviously some of the dorm mates followed. And then we started making a bit more of the team practices. Like, let's go do this as people that love the game and the sport. But I mean, I think that's what we're grateful about that experience, right? We go into this new place and we learn new things, because I don't see myself doing that in grade 7 or 6. I mean, I hated sports.
Right.
So grateful for the school. And obviously we saw the school change quite a bit. I don't want to talk about too much about grade 9 because I feel it's such an odd period. It's very filler. You have some responsibility, you don't. You kind of just grateful you're not in grade 8 again. Like, you feel for the grade 8s. But something that I loved about our school and the whole boarding school aspect, the all-boys school, was Journey. And that's something I really want to touch in. How was your experience with Journey? And if you look back at it, what would you do again?
My Journey experience was very unique, I won't lie. Something I will say about it was, again, not to sound redundant, but it was eye-opening. I didn't expect it to be as challenging as it was. Obviously, it's you hiking. You know that you're going to be walking from point A to B every day. But the more challenging aspect of it was getting along with the people that you are put together with. So obviously, in high school, you know everyone, but it's not to say you're necessarily friends with everyone. and that's not in a bad way by any means.
You can't actually.
But,
That cannot
yeah.
be the case. Yeah.
It cannot be the case. So now when you put in a group, and especially for me, this is where it also starts to challenge a lot of people, especially when you put in, I'll say, extreme conditions. Not that it was like extreme or anything, but for us, you know, private school kids, all boys school, it was extreme, getting thrown into the bush. And now you're given a map, obviously with some of our teachers supervising, given a map. And then for us, each day we had two group leaders that would, okay, gents, we're gonna take this route, turn left, go right. And then now we're walking for 5 kilometers. We still haven't reached our destination. You see our team leaders looking at the map. They're like, yo, ish, guys, I think we need to turn around. It's not looking good. And those little moments of frustration, but it's also a thing of, you still have to back that individual and give him his time to fail, I'll say.
Because I mean, throughout all the days, we get put in that same situation. It's not like you
100%.
cannot guide the group. You have to dedicate a day that the teacher says, listen, you are walking the group today. So we all kind of, until your turn comes, you judge until
You see what I'm saying?
you're in their shoes, yes.
See, that's exactly my point. Like, so you'd have to give them their time, because you also know yourself that, to be fair, when it's my turn, I could also mess up like this, or I could take a wrong turn and now we walk for 2 kilometers in the wrong direction. But again, that's why I was saying, it's that aspect of, in extreme conditions, you're actually forced to work together and find a way, come hell or high water. So that was something that was very beneficial of it, or with it, in terms of journeying, because I feel like going into real life, it's a key aspect that you do need to have an understanding of, that whether you're working in some company somewhere, there's going to be times when you're going to have to work with certain individuals in extreme conditions, in terms of maybe a deadline is coming up, or a client wants something by this time, the boss is really urging us to push this project, whatever. So it also gives you that experience to be like, I've worked in a situation like this, or under stressful conditions like this, with people that maybe I wasn't necessarily the closest with, but we are able to come together and achieve what we need to achieve, while still having some, you know, laughs, banter on the side, here, there, which was something that gets you through it. And now the other aspect of, you start to form bonds with people that you never actually thought you would. Getting to know this individual, like, oh, I actually never knew this guy was like this. Why haven't I actually talked to him more? Why haven't we had more chats? This guy's actually funny, he's actually this, he's actually that. So that was my journey experience from it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One thing I'd change, maybe prepare more online, maybe
Hit the gym a bit more, go
hit
walk
the gym,
around.
cycle a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
But I love what you're saying, because, it is a big epiphany now, thinking of our high school career. Our school kind of pushed us to get out the comfort zone constantly. Our school really said, listen, who gives a fuck about what you feel, what you want to do? It's about what you have to do, what you know you need to do. I mean, starting something, if for context, people don't know what journey is, it's a 25-day hike to Mpumalanga from Pretoria. So 23, yeah, around there.
Yeah.
And I realized not just that, but also bounds, 3.5K run, or it changed over time, went from 3Ks to 3.5. It was a run that occurred twice a term. And
PTSD still.
yeah, and I think the day boys got this easy, but the boarders had to wake up mostly Tuesdays to go run. And I just realized our school was really good at trying to make us the best versions we could be. And I'm only realizing that now. I mean, in the moment you think and you complain about it because you're so young, you don't know that. And journey was a big part where I think I'll do that again, because it pushed us, like you said, out of our comfort zone. We were thrown out there with people we necessarily weren't friends with or we didn't like, but you get to know, with the availability of resources that we can't have at home, like a phone, a TV, iPad, or normal food, like just going down the road. It makes you really grateful
100%.
for what you go through and what you have in life right now. What journey group were you in again?
I was in journey group 2, actually.
Oh, so you were like straight off the bat as well.
That's one thing that actually, I remember the day before, obviously I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, journey group 1 is gone. Eish, my time's coming tomorrow. Wake up, go there, ring the bell as your sign of, yeah, we're heading out. Your parents are there, hey, bye. And I'm just like, yo,
It's real now.
it's real now. Step out the gates, and now you walk. You actually start walking. I'm like, in my head at that time, I was still a little bit in disbelief. I was like,
I was gonna
so
say,
these
when
guys
did it
are-
hit you? What moment did you realize, wow, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're doing something crazy beyond you would ever think you'd do in your life.
So at first, when we walked out, it's you go out, then we got on the bus, and then they take us somewhere first, because our first day is cycling day, which that was thrown in the deep end. a
Yeah,
little
straight
bit.
off the bat, 90K cycling.
Yeah, that's when I actually realized it. So at first, we got out the gate. In my mind, I'm like, are these guys really gonna make us walk the whole way? Then we got on the bus, and I'm like, this is light, it's cool, this isn't anything serious. Then when we got to the destination where we from there gonna start cycling, and we cycled, so we got there around like maybe midday, 12, 1. We start cycling. Now we're pushing. I see the sun start going down. I'm starting to hear people complain. Slowly starting to sink in that this is actually getting serious. As soon as nighttime hit and we're still cycling and we still had like maybe 10, 15 kilometers to our destination, and the teachers are like, guys, you're gonna push it. We'll be there with you to make sure you're good, but you're still gonna push it. That's when the realization set in for me that, okay, we're actually really gonna have to go through this. Like, we're really gonna have to do the hard stuff, put in the work. My tire's flat. Yo, guys, please stop.
I'm convinced this is a
Fix it.
genuine theory for journey that we had. I'm convinced the teachers would break the bikes on purpose.
Oh, for sure.
I cannot believe that those bikes were that faulty.
There's no ways. There's no
But
ways.
as you're speaking now, that realization, and it just made me think of my story. I was on journey group 5, and we had someone on journey group 4 that we were chilling with the before, and I don't know, Joburg Day is around the corner, and we all decide let's go to Joburg Day before journey.
Mistake.
And the story just gets me because the next day this guy was leaving for journey group 4. I at least had a day to prepare.
Fair.
You know, when we're young, we're not going to be like drinking.
You still want to also mess
Yeah,
around.
you also, but I
fuck around and find out.
I just thought to myself, like, what a mistake to make. Let's go to Joburg Day the day before journey, because your preparation got me. Back then we never thought, yeah, let's go work for this, you know, let's go hike, let's go run, let's gym, let's get fit. No, everyone was, let's make the most out of life like we were gonna die.
Facts. Like, one thing, me and my one friend, one of my closest friends, we tried it. We said, okay, but it was like maybe a week, 2 weeks that we did journey prep for. But we said, okay, we're gonna go to the gym, cycle 20 minutes every day. We did it, and when I got to the cycling, and I looked at those bikes, like you're saying, well, these aren't the bikes that they supply.
Hey,
in
this
the
isn't what
gym.
they
Like,
told
this
us it
isn't-
was gonna be
This
like.
isn't the same. Those little like Moya bikes. I'm like, yo.
Because I mean, we
What
had
is this?
we had the bike training day, right? Where
yeah.
they took each group to learn how to ride a bike in case you didn't. Confession, I only learned how to ride a bike in grade 10 before journey. But those bikes that we used, I loved them. I was like, this is the easiest thing. The ones that came on journey, toughest bikes I've ever had
The
to ride
switch
in my
up was
life.
crazy. Yeah,
Those gears would not work. The tires are always popping. Those brakes didn't work.
brother, those chains. It was the chains on the tires for me. That's what nearly sent me. I nearly crashed out so many times just in that experience. And again, it also ties into when I was saying, you have to work. You have to be able to work with people. Like, it's all fun and good to. It's easy, let me say, to complain when you're the guy in the front and then you're hearing, hey, no, wait, Sabian, stop. Guy at the back is struggling. He needs to change his tire or change his chain. And then you're out here, dude, why are we waiting for
This
this guy?
guy's useless.
And then as soon as
Yeah.
it's you're trailing there, the bucky's on your ass, and everyone's like 15, 20 meters ahead of you. 20 meters, I'll say a kilometer ahead of you. And now you're there shouting, guys, wait, please. Roles reverse quickly. So that was one thing that I had to adjust to real quickly, especially with the bike situations. It was easy, chain comes off, bike tire punched, and I'm just saying, like, guy, I'm not doing it on purpose. Like, I promise you.
It happens.
It happens, you know what I'm saying? So that was, and eventually you joke about it with your boys.
Of course,
in
you
that
end up getting to the
when
camp
you get to
and
the
you
camp,
laugh.
you're like, this guy broke down 5 times. And I'm like, me, I was only twice, gents. So I'm just saying. So I was saying that was very important, like having that camaraderie with your friends, especially in those struggling times, I'll say, was one of the most enjoyable parts of journey. And one thing about journey is you only really realize the lessons afterwards. And that's just a part of it. It's the journey. And then once you finally finish, maybe even only in matric or even maybe now, there's still some things where I realize that, oh, okay, this is what journey actually taught me. This is what I was supposed to be taking out of it. And just speaking on it now is what something.
It makes you kind of realize and think back to it. I mean, something, as you say that, I kind of took solo day for granted.
Fully.
I think back now, the opportunity we had to have a full 24 hours by ourselves without our peers in our own little campsite in nature, I think we took that for granted. I think we thought so badly of how I wish I could be home in those moments. But now you live the real world and you think, I wish I could have some peace like that. I wish I reconnected with nature. And we try to live our life with no regrets, obviously. And I'm not saying that's a regret. I'm still grateful for it. I would have looked at it differently back then, 100%. And as you say, we learn it later. It's not great that at that age we were so present in the moment. We weren't worrying about the future. We weren't worrying about the past. 100%. Journey kind of taught me, this is our plan today. This is what we need to get through. You know, we need to make it to this camp at this time. We need to ration this amount of food. We were so present in the moment that I think we forget about that. And another point that I loved about Journey, which I've only started using recently, and not just specifically Journey, most of the challenges we have in life is, if I could survive that, I could survive anything now.
100%.
I mean, we thrown in the wild or, you know, the bundus, the bash, the bush, and we came back in one piece. You know, if I can go hike for 23 days on food I didn't choose, people I didn't choose, a day I didn't plan, we could pretty much do anything. Your computer's frozen. You don't have to break it. Oh, this person said something. You don't have to care. You survived worse.
100%. Was there what I'll say, a breaking point for you? Not that you broke, but you felt that you were on the edge. You were like, maybe it was you're climbing a mountain, nearly slipped, and you're like, you know what?
So let me clarify this. Are we talking breaking points emotionally or like?
Emotionally, physically, whichever.
Are we talking, what are we focusing on? Like breaking in terms of, I'm tired of this or I'm angry?
Emotionally and mentally, because I guess that was
like a little bit, emotionally is a little bit, I'm
I guess
sad.
That's what the key of Journey was, to also strengthen your mental and your emotional resolve, I guess. So was there a point where you feel like you really got tested mentally or emotionally?
So emotionally, I'll definitely say was the first letter drop, because we didn't get that straight away. We got letter drop, what day?
Day 7 maybe?
Somewhere around there. And letter drop, it's your family and people that you've told you're going on Journey send you letters of what's happening in the world, how they're feeling. And that really broke me in terms of just reading and getting pictures of my family in the state of where I know I'm not seeing them for 23 days. And, you know, family take it far. They send the deepest shit, like they say.
Facts.
The things that make you want to cry. So I think that definitely was a hectic emotional point for me, where it just made me so grateful. Like, let me go spend time with them when I can't. You know, you don't miss something until you lose it. Then I think physically, one of the roughest days, the paddle day, or we had these little boats busy going in the water. It wasn't the water part that got me. I just remember there was a waterfall that had sunk quite a bit. Like the water wasn't up to levels. It was quite low. And I remember the teacher saying, be careful of that rock. It's slippery. And as I put my foot on it, in my head, I was like, I'm going to slip. I know for a fact as soon as I put my foot on, and I slipped, and as I was falling down, I saw my life flash. I thought I was gone. It was over for me. I landed, thank goodness I landed on my back, like in a little puddle. I didn't land on a rock or anything. But that's when I really looked at myself and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Like if death is around me, you know? Not just that, also a cycling day. I hit the one corner too hard, braked a bit, flew off the bike, you know. And you're in Journey, you want to kind of cheat. You like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to go home.
Oh, yeah.
But then what stuck with me in the head is, for people that won't know, at Journey, at our high school, if you didn't complete Journey, you weren't allowed to cross a bridge. And if you weren't allowed to cross that bridge, you had to walk around the entire school to get to the classrooms. So in the moments of all those struggles, it's such a terrible thing, but I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that guy that couldn't walk over that bridge. It was such a high tradition in the school we went to that I wanted to honor it to myself, to my peers, to the school itself. So yeah, those were probably my biggest breaking points, but all of them I overcame because I knew the purpose of what Journey was for at the time.
No, 100%. I like what you're saying with the whole, you understood that there's a purpose to your pain, and that whole thing of if you didn't complete it, you weren't gonna get the outcome that you want in terms of being able to cross that bridge, having your name there, which is something I did appreciate, to be honest, about the school, is that it was pushed that, look, finish what you've started and you will reap the benefits of what you have gone through, if that makes sense. As much as it can sound dumb, like, it's just crossing a bridge. But when you have to walk around the whole school every single time just to get to that one point, or because you didn't complete something that you really could have pushed through, it will also start to play on your mental. So that's why that aspect of it is something that I guess I also overlooked. But hearing you speak on it now is something that I actually realized that was actually a key aspect to an extent, because if you didn't complete it, you weren't going to feel that accomplishment.
At the end of the day, it's as much as other people might look at you and judge you, it's not really that. You kind of feel like you let down not just yourself, but you let down the school that's giving you
the
opportunity.
opportunity to, facts, fight through it. And when you do that, that's one thing I'll say that I did feel a big relief and satisfaction with myself for, was when you get back and you go over the bridge, ring that bell to signify I've returned, I've completed it. Not to say that you're necessarily a man at that stage, but it really felt like you stepped into that phase of a young man, you know what I'm saying? Coming back from something very difficult with all your brothers that you've struggled with, new mates made, and now you guys can all walk back together, ring that bell, hug your family, all that. That was a very important point within Journey that I feel like maybe we overlooked. We're just like, finished, I'm done. But also when you do ring that bell, people clap. It's that satisfaction of knowing I struggled through something, and it touches on the point of that's where you do find, I feel like in life, you do find happiness through going through the struggle and seeing it through. And then once you've accomplished it, not to sound redundant, but that feeling of fulfillment just of completing it is what's key, and which is something that I feel like Journey was trying to instill within us. So it was a very, very difficult phase, but enjoyable. So what I'll ask you though is, from completing Journey, was there any aspect that made you feel, going now into grade 11, 12, was there any aspect from Journey that made you feel different, maybe in terms of just how now you carried yourself, or maybe lessons learned through it that you feel you took throughout afterwards, or
Of course.
was it
I mean, when
different?
we step in grade 8, right, we're learning a lot about hierarchy, and it's hard because some schools, primary schools, don't do that, you know. And we went by forms: Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5. And I always thought that the Form 3s were the most, what's the word? The Form 3s are the most aggressive, or the most, they have problems, or they're going through something, and they're the most irritating. Once you get to Form 3, you realize all this pressure's on you. You're in such a stage of where you're not the kids anymore, but you're not the adults either. You know, you're kind of the middle child. You're the middle child. You know, you kind of like, the attention's not on you, but then Journey comes and all the attention's on you. And then you come back and you know that you got to change. You know, you can't come back from Journey and be the same as you were before. You can't be a part of the kids group. You got to be more towards the adults. So I think stepping into grade 11 from that, you kind of walk into that year feeling with a chip on your shoulder and a proud chest, you know, because you've done something half the school hasn't. Only the people above you. Once you're in grade 11, there's 1 year above you that's done it, you know, which also makes me think, respect to the teachers that do Journey, that keep going every year. Well done at such an older age and being responsible for so many kids. But now you get to grade 11 and that's the hard spot. You know, you came from the kids, you're going into the adults now. You know, you got to be part of the team that has to look after the whole school. The matrics are relying on you to help keep people in check. You're the future of the school. That's how it works. You also got prelims around, so your life is serious. What are you going to apply for? What subjects are you taking now that you've chosen? So I think I definitely walked in a lot more confident with who I was. I think it was still a scary world though. I think that world was scarier than Journey walking into it, because there was so much about myself I still need to figure out.
Fair. Now that's eye-opening, to be fair. I don't really know how I felt. I hear what you're saying completely, and
That's
definitely
why it's
did.
hard to put it, because you don't know
Yeah.
how to feel in that stage. It's such an odd time.
But I really do. I like with what you said. I do resonate with how you were talking about being in Form 3, Grade 10. That little middle path that you feel like you're walking down, where it's you're not young anymore, but you're not necessarily old enough to sit with the grown-ups. Then when you complete that, it's okay. Now you need to actually start looking to move yourself from that young mentality into sitting at the grown-ups table. Like you're saying, now you're stepping in grade 11, you have your prelims. As you get older, leadership positions are starting to get put into place. So you really have to think about, that's why I'll say grade 11 was more about, now you have to think about your path that you want to take. You have to think about, okay, what am I actually going to be applying for? Am I certain with these subjects that I'm taking in terms of what I want to go study afterwards? Looking at leadership positions coming up. Okay, do I look at myself as someone who I believe can be a leader? Okay, cool. What positions would I want to align myself with going forward? And then just starting to implement those small steps to make sure that you do reach those goals that you've set out for. And looking back on it now, actually, high school really does prepare you for life. You actually don't really realize it until now. Because if you think about life now, it's okay, this is the real world now. What do I actually want to do? How am I going to put this into place? Okay, what steps am I taking? What's the best route? What varsity course must I take? Okay, from there, how do I make sure I stand out to the company that I do want to apply for? XYZ, XYZ. How do I make sure that I achieve the lifestyle that I want, getting the house that I want, all that. So it's these small lessons that you overlook in the time, but actually now reflecting on it, it's stuff that does prepare you and that you have been through. So it's also good reference for yourself. And going into grade 12 is where you essentially put all these things into action now. You've been put in that position. You've applied or started applying for those varsities, seeing whether you get that preliminary acceptance, whatever, and then obviously finishing off with your finals. So all these things are steps that they put into place that was preparing you for life. Like I know our school had that whole motto of preparing a young man for life, and maybe at that time you didn't feel that way, but if you look back on it now and give reference to it and to maybe what you're experiencing now, there's definitely a lot of points that you can take away from it, especially with the stages through, like you're saying, from 1, 2, 3, 4, grade 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are key aspects of it where you do change certain, certain things become more important. Certain values shift just because now your mindset has also changed. You don't prioritize maybe childish things anymore, or things that just don't align with where you want to go.
So, diving into our matric year, something that was so unfortunate is that we got slapped with the pandemic, COVID-19. And I do believe that took such a big part of our life away. I mean, crazy to think it was so long ago, but that was our final year. 4 years of hard work for all of us for first team sport, leadership roles, building such strong bonds in a social setting in the boarding houses and within the school as a brotherhood, stripped away from us. You know, it felt like life was so unfair. So I just wanted to get your point of view from, lockdown, us having to move from seeing our boys every single day in the boarding house, like wake up, there's your boy, go to sleep, there's your boy, hello ma'am, hello sir, to now being at home, cooped up in a room, doing online sessions. How did you find that period of time?
Well, obviously it was very isolated, first off. Above all things, I felt very isolated. As much as I was with my family and loved my family, it was not the scene I was used to for that period. Like obviously in my mind, I knew, okay, this is when I'm supposed to be at school. Usually I'm in boarding with my friends, with my mates, just enjoying that high school environment. And now the whole switch up of I'm just constantly at home, surrounded by my mom, my brother, and love for them. But it was just that unfamiliarity or unease of being in that environment for that period that did make me start to feel annoyed, irritated. Quite often I'd find myself just annoyed, like my little nephew, or I like to see him as my little brother. He'd be there just doing what he's doing, but because it felt like I'm not supposed to be in this environment right now, I'd get annoyed. My mom would tell me to do something. Obviously I'd do it. I'm not gonna find my mom, but I know I'm annoyed, I'm irritated. She could see it, my brother could see it, and everyone in the house was just obviously annoyed, irritated, and feelings, emotions, mental space was very down, was very negative.
Probably the most challenging time of our lives
Oh,
so
100%.
far.
100%, 100%. And you add to just that thing of, at the same time, now you need to worry about your health on top of all the other stresses, knowing that this is your final year, you need to be focusing on your studies, your exams. So it's just a lot of stress, unease, and being thrown into the unknown that came with that period. Excuse me. That came with that period, which was very challenging for myself and I assume everyone else, because there's just a lot of things that you wanted to do that you just couldn't, and it was easy for myself. It was easy for myself to slip into that, well, I might as well not even try sort of mentality, where wake up, you'd have your lessons, you just switch on the laptop, just go to sleep. Man, my camera is not working. I don't know what to do. So it was easy to find yourself in that space, and it was about digging yourself out of it. Obviously, you'd have to monitor the amount of times that you'd slip into that space, how long you'd also allow yourself to stay in this rut. Because like you're saying, it's something that obviously at the time you didn't know, but it wasn't going to last forever. But you'd still have to prioritize that. Look, I'm not in the space that I want to be in, but I have to focus on my studies. And it's something that I would, at that point in time, I'd overlook a lot. I'd give into negativity, and that's just something that came with that COVID experience, I'll say, for myself and for a lot of people I know within my family. My mom would also go through her periods of just rut and not feeling good. I know if I saw my mom's face and it looked like she was angry or vexed or anything like that, I stay clear. Because at top of that, she still had to push her own work, but this isn't the environment she's used to. My brother the same. My nephew, he was just enjoying life. I mean,
Everyone's home.
yeah,
I can
he's
see.
yeah,
I
it's
get to
good
play with this
times.
person, play with
Yeah,
that
boy,
person.
it's good times. So like, and I guess that's something that did also keep me, at least, on a positive mindset for as much as I could be. Because through that, after that, I just said, you know what, actually, let me start doing small things. I found myself gymming more, doing a lot of home workouts, push-ups, all that. I stopped, and I never saw it through, but trying to get into the TikTok scene, you know what I'm saying?
I think everyone tried that in 2020.
While it was popping, you know what I'm saying? Renegade and that,
I mean, as you speak about that, I just remembered all the trends that happened on social media.
Rather.
Instagram, people always tagging this new challenge of take a photo now, or like a baby face challenge. There was always a new challenge happening. But that's the way we had to connect. It's the only way we could feel like we were back where we were, right?
Facts.
And I like that you're talking about the family situation, because I think we get so caught up in ourselves, we forget how it affects the rest of the world and people around us. As much as we irritated because we can't be at school, our family is also now, money's going out, business isn't going to be good, things are going south. And that's why I do think everyone got on each other's nerves, being cooped up at home. But you do look back at it, and I think to myself, I'm just happy my family was in good health. Nothing did go wrong in the COVID 100%, pandemic. 100%. But as saying that, I think our school did really, really well in terms of bringing us back to school, the way they did it, the process that the matrics were allowed to come back because they understood this year was very important to us socially, emotionally, mentally, and the year itself with finals coming up. leadership roles, all of those aspects. And I think that's a big part that did bring us back together. I think because we spent so much time away from everyone, all our friends, coming back was, wow, dude, it's good to see you. Like, it's good to have you back, socialize, connect again. And I mean, like you say, the skating scene was just blew up again. Everyone was so excited to skate. Everyone and their mother had a skateboard.
Yeah, brother.
But I'm grateful because I think that brought us closer again.
No, 100%. I remember we'd always, in between classes or little breaks, we'd all come there by the boarding house, set up, everyone come with their boards. Nah, boy, trust, I don't know how to kickflip today. Nah, show me. You see what I'm saying? So those little moments of camaraderie, gents bailing, all that was very enjoyable. And like you're saying, our school did do well in terms of at least bringing us back, understanding that it's important for us to at least have somewhat of this final year together, being together. And yeah, it was a challenging time, man. I don't want to speak too much on it, or don't want to just ramble on about it, but it was a very difficult time. And at least getting those final moments to be with my brothers one last time, because obviously at that same time, you're also thinking of, okay, who am I actually going to see once this is all done? Because in a school environment,
You're forced to be there.
Yeah, you're forced to be together, not in necessarily a negative way, but it's the truth of the matter. You're forced to be there because obviously we all go to the same school, we all attend the same class.
Afterwards, it's all free will.
Afterwards, yeah, you see what I'm saying? Afterwards, people could go study overseas, people could go to Cape Town,
Potch,
some
Pretoria,
people stay in Joburg, you see what I'm saying? So at that same time, it's also about enjoying those moments that you have with the people that you are surrounded by and that you have in the boarding house, in the day boy houses. That was one thing for me. Like, a lot of the day boys, I wasn't sure I would ever see them at all. Some of them even now I haven't talked to since. So at least having that comfort of, I got to experience some time with them in that final year. As much as COVID took a lot of it away, I got to experience those final moments, whether it was us just speaking or complaining about COVID in itself, or the stress of final exams, or even just laughing together as the teacher shouted, "Hey, put on your mask," you know what I'm saying?
Or someone hits a little cough and they're like, COVID.
It's long.
I really do like what you're saying, because something that really hit was that final bell ceremony. Walking down, ringing the bell for the last time, saying goodbye to the people, your peers below you that look up to you, your peers that are around you that you shared 4 or 5 years with. And I mean, it was such an emotional moment. Some people weren't emotional. I mean, I was very, because this was my whole life for 5 years. Growing up with these people, being in a boarding house, being surrounded by school that surrounded brotherhood, it was something that I was grateful for. It was hard to leave, and I just wanted to hear your opinion on that final moment, realizing, hey, I ring this bell, and the next few weeks I'm out of here. It's me, myself, and I, and maybe I see some people.
Now, for me, it was very, I'll say, internally emotional. Maybe at that stage in time, I wasn't very in tune with my emotions, I'll say, or I wasn't an expressive person like that, where I would outburst, cry and stuff. But seeing a lot of people, like you're saying, the year younger, the forms below us, also just the people within our grade, knowing that this could be the last goodbye, the last time I see you, or won't really interact as much, was very emotional internally. And seeing how it also affected other people was a big thing. Like, one of my closest mates at the time, seeing him cry, who I saw someone that wouldn't necessarily cry or get emotionally overwhelmed, seeing him break down and be like, wow, this school has given me a lot, these people have given me a lot, all the memories and all that, it really did hit home. Like, it hit my heart, and it made me just appreciate the time I did have with them. That's one thing for me, is I could find satisfaction in knowing that every time I interacted with one of the people at school, I always gave it my 100, like, energy-wise. Always, when I was speaking to them, I was speaking to them like, yeah, brother, what's up? Like, what we chopping? What we talking about? So I always, for me, that moment, I reflected more just on the good memories had, not
The
what is
negative
lost.
aspects, of
You know what I'm
course.
saying?
Yeah, you shouldn't focus on what's missing.
I wasn't focusing on like what's missing or what's lost now, because I understood the thing of everything or good times will come to an end eventually. You know what I'm saying? It was never going to last forever as much as I would have liked it to or whatever. So at that moment or in that moment when you're ringing the bell, you're walking through that, I was just trying to, I was analyzing faces, you know, expressions, dapping people up, like,
Taking it all in.
yeah,
you
like
know?
just really taking it all in. Like, it kind of felt, not to be cliche, but like a slow-mo movie where I was like, you know, felt the
Main character,
yeah, main
yeah.
character, like just dapping people up though, like genuinely saying goodbye to people where I didn't want to believe, obviously, at that point in time, it was going to be a final goodbye, but
You prepared yourself for it.
yeah, preparing myself for it because again, never knew what was going to happen, where they were going to go. So it was very emotionally overwhelming, but I took it in at the same time, and I just more tried to enjoy that moment, dap people up, dap them up with all my energy. You know what I'm saying? Really, yeah, not to sound redundant, but just like take in the moment and experience it as it comes. That's one thing. Not like not force my crying or force feeling any type of way, just the way I was feeling, just taking it in, accepting it, and then from there, whatever comes, comes. But yeah, that was me personally. For yourself, I don't know how it was for you. If it was different. Maybe you're a more expressive person.
I was super emotional. I mean, I've always been an emotional person. I've always been able to wear my heart on my sleeve. It's been a blessing and a curse. The part that hit me was obviously I was a dorm prefect and I loved the grade below us. I loved them with my whole heart, little brother vibes. I thought they were some of the coolest people I've ever met, people I really cared for. I loved my dorm. I loved people around me in our grade. And I just got emotional in terms of, like you said, thinking that it's going to be the last time. And just, I really reflected in the moments of all the good parts that happened. And I was not crying because I'm sad I'm leaving. I was crying because, wow, like what a journey this has been. You know, it goes by so quickly. I mean, you go through those years and you think, I hate school, you know, or like school sucks. And you really go through it. And with COVID happening to us, you become so much more grateful for the time you have there. It was really hard to leave. So I expressed my emotions fully. I tried to hold myself, but I mean, I cried. I saw people crying back, and you know, it just showed a lot of brotherhood, love. It really was eye-opening to me of how many people impacted my life and how many lives I impacted to them. But then what was a crazy turn of events is we move on to something that's very common here, rage, VAC. And we lived very two different lives there because I still saw a lot of people from school on rage where you didn't go on rage.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, mine, I got to still see people, and I think I held on to that hope a little bit more because you go partying now, you're just enjoying these 7 days of just drinking, partying with the same people, seeing people that were from high school, from a different school. So my emotions were almost wasted, but not at the same time. What was your experience like not going, and what did you do?
So for me, with rage, firstly I'll say I don't lie. I wanted to go to rage, 100%. But obviously in that time, with my culture specifically, it was a period where I thought I was going to be doing something else. So usually, for example, like my older brother, he didn't go on rage because he had to do that specific thing in my culture. So I thought, okay, that was going to be me. I'm not going on rage. And with the whole COVID thing, I was unsure of whether it would have happened or not. So it was both the thing of I was unsure whether I was still going to be going to this cultural commitment that I had, and also I was unsure whether rage was going to be happening or not. So do I buy a ticket? Do I not? And then I sort of left it until very last minute and just ended up not going. And the whole cultural thing, obviously, for safety reasons, got pushed. We just said, you know what, we'll do it another time. So then now I was left in a place where I was sort of better a little bit. For a little bit of a period, I was like, oh no, why didn't I get to go to rage? I should have. And part of it is on me, but I'm at least happy that I got to do my own thing with my own mates, because from there we made plans, me and some of my mates, to go to Cape Town, stayed at our one mate's apartment that he has that side, or his parents have that side, that they allowed us to use for that week. So we had our own little, like, rage, for lack of a better phrase, but we had our own little rage, and it was enjoyable, man. Like, spending my time with them took my mind off all of that, like rage, the whole commitments that I'd have, everything. It just took my mind off it. So I was really at least blessed and privileged to at least get to experience that, have my own form of socializing and, what can I say, post-matric jail time.
Yeah, like fun.
You know
We
what I'm
feel like
saying?
it's deserved to go and live life a little bit. And I
Yeah.
mean, with yours, it sounds super intimate, which is great. Getting to know a smaller group of people. One thing I do want to touch base on, which I still laugh to this day, because alcohol was banned during COVID for a while, I mean, rage, it wasn't banned. You just couldn't have it at the festival, right? There was no liquor license. But I love the story of how you guys were able to find alcohol.
So, okay, I won't lie. Yeah, no. As soon as you said that, you made me back, because our most difficult time was on the New Year's of. So that's when we thought, nah, Cyril's gonna. We didn't plan ahead and buy alcohol preemptively. We said, nah, Cyril's gonna drop all the bands. We'll be able to buy. It's fine. Cool. That Cyril comes on TV, says, yeah, no, still can't buy. So now we all distraught. We're chilling at a restaurant, just eating, trying to contemplate, guys, how we organizing alcohol? What's the plan? My one mate says, let's get Tinder, and then we get dates. After that, we'll see who has asked them to have alcohol, and then we'll make plans like that. Obviously, that quickly fell through. No matches, you know what I'm saying? So that was tough. But luckily, one of our other friends, their parents also had an apartment in Cape Town. They weren't there. They said, no, help yourselves to wine, which was very messy, because wine, I wasn't familiar with its game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't familiar. So ended up getting wine drunk. And it was nice because it was I never knew this, but maybe it was just my experience, but wine brings out, emotions. Like, people started the whole, I love you, man, the whole, like...
That drunk chat.
Yeah, that whole drunk chat, you know what I'm saying? And we really got a chop. And people that maybe had some differences or some little beefs, aired out.
Became real.
We talked about insecurities, all that. So it was I appreciate it because it was a very intimate moment. And it was also jokes because of the struggles we had to go through. Because, brother, when we went to go get that wine, we were also cutting it close on curfew time. So we were like, yo, if the police stop us, and now we have to go back to that apartment where we got the wine from and just chill there. Because we split up.
Yeah.
We said, okay, you three, go get the wine. Us three will stay here at the Posy, hold it down. So then now those calls of, yeah, guys, it's not looking good. No Ubers are picking up. It could be long. And then eventually to things coming full circle, making it back.
It all worked out.
All worked out at the end of the day. And the photos we took, you know what I'm saying? It's photos that I really look back on fondly, knowing the struggles we went through to get the alcohol, the chats we had in between, and then just the tomfoolery that we went about in that moment, especially in a confined space, where it's not like we came back from the club and then this was posties. This was our pre's, Joel and posties, you know what I'm saying, all just in one sitting, and it was very enjoyable. And yeah, that was just a blessed experience for me all around. I don't know, obviously I want you to touch a little bit on the rage, maybe what I missed out, what you enjoyed.
I mean, rage was quite a very interesting experience. I mean, loved it. I think one of the best experiences I've ever had. I originally was supposed to be in the Cabanas, the hotel, with a few of my mates, but I ended up mostly staying at the Sands because realistically to me, the Sands was rage that year. I mean,
Fair.
every pre's happened there, every posties happened there.
Was that the one that was popping off?
Yeah, I mean, it was just the best time every time you were in the Sands. I mean, from the pool parties to you could walk into a room, people are playing games, drinking, just absolute peak vibes. The clubs were awesome as well. It's just got with the whole curfew, masks on. It was a little bit too intense sometimes, but it was still regardless amazing. I think there's too many stories to even think of, But I know a lot of things went down. I mean, I've slept on a balcony during Rage because I didn't have a bed to sleep in, or like, it was just very messy.
Fair.
But I mean, the whole aspect of it with all these people that have just finished matric going to a place, and you got people all over the country, you know, from this school, from that school, and it's really just cool to create and network those friendships and meet new people outside of your school, especially going from all boys meeting girls or meeting boys from another all boys school and just really finalizing different friendships. It was really great. Nothing gets over those pre's at Sands though. I think that's the first time I realized pre's were better than the actual jaw. I mean, wow, there was a stage, the one story I remember, we went to one of our boys from school. We went to their room and I walked in expecting, you know, like a light 20 people for
Nothing too
pre's, like
hectic,
people I
yeah.
know. When I walk in, there's about at least 50 people. I don't know half these people. I just see some of my boys, yo, what's up? You know, how you doing? What's happening? Pre's. Context, they had 2 rooms at the bottom where it was connected. So we had the whole bottom floor basically here. And it got so packed to a stage where, you know, you couldn't move. People were complaining. Shit was getting broken. Food and dope was being taken. So I remember the owner of the one room stood on the table and he said, if you're not from this school, dating someone from this school or from this school, get the fuck out my room. And I just saw a flood of people leave. And eventually it was people from our school,
Yeah,
partners,
fair,
schools
fair.
that were related. But I've never seen a pre's like that until we got into the university life. That was like the biggest wow moment to me. I was like, mama, I made it. You know, it was like, it felt like a music video to me.
Oh, fair.
But touching on Rage, it was a great time. Unfortunately, we did start the 3rd wave of COVID in SA, so things went back
So
south.
it was you guys, no?
Yeah, I still remember getting on the news and being on a FaceTime with a few people from Rage and like, that was us, man, that was us. I look back
Fair,
at it and
man.
I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah, no, fair.
But- Finishing that, then we go into the preemptively real world. Now we've got so much free will. We're going to university or people are taking gap years and things are getting serious now. Studies, life, it's full freedom. Your choices, you can go to uni if you want to, you don't have to. You can study this or you don't have to. And I mean, I'd love to hear your experience because I know you went straight into a gap year, you started working a little bit, getting some experience. I went straight to uni and I loved my uni experience so much that I had to kind of change it. It became a bit detrimental. I mean, I was studying here in Joburg and eventually I was going every weekend to Pretoria. Because of Pretoria, unfortunately, the place called the Strip, that's a trap. The Strip is a big trap.
Yeah, it grips you, man. It grips you.
I mean, we were separated up until I think about July. So those first 6 months, how was your experience of being thrown out into the preemptive real world?
Fair. So obviously, I'll say for me at that time, because of my mindset, I had the big, a big thing for me was FOMO. I had that a lot, you know, social anxiety, where I was like, I'd always look at stories and be like, wow, I missed out. Now that you're also speaking on Rage, obviously now I don't feel that way. I experienced what I experienced. Cool. But yeah, at that point in time, felt like I missed out. So my mentality was already starting to take a little bit of a dip or wasn't really moving in the right direction. And then my first year, I took a gap year, but it wasn't intentional. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to go overseas and starting the New York Film Academy, which was nice, got accepted, but obviously due to family circumstances, I couldn't. So then I was like, fine, it's cool. Thought I was gonna go UK, study that side, and again, family circumstances didn't turn out. So it kept on, my mentality just kept on taking a dip, because I was always like, I'm not getting what I want.
Some real challenges and some bumps ahead, yeah.
I'm not getting what I want. So I was already holding a lot of bitterness and resentment in my heart, which wasn't good for me. But at the end of the day, I charged it. I took it how it was. And I said, okay, cool. Let me start working, maybe. Let me just take this year as a gap year, figure out what I want to do properly, and then we'll reevaluate, take it away from there. So in the first year, I ended up working at a real estate agency, which was very nice. The people, they were very welcoming, especially for me being at such a young age. They were very just interested, and I'll say for lack of a better term, inspired by it. The fact that I was taking initiative at such a young age, I was mainly there more to gain real world experience. But the way that people took me under their wing, showed me certain things, it really gave me motivation and hope for when I actually do step out into real world. Because in the back of my mind, I was still like, I'm gonna go study first, and then cool. But this year, let me just take it to job shadow, gain experience, do some internships, this, that, this, that. So my time at that real estate agency was very blessed. Everyone was there to motivate me, push me. They wanted me to make money, all that. And then I took that time off because I wanted to focus on, at the time, I wanted to go into vet science. So I wanted to focus on or do an internship at an industry where I would be working with animals. I could get a sense of what it'd be like, the work I'd be doing. So then I volunteered for some time from like April until even when I met you in the July, September-ish, around their time, I was still doing that volunteering work at this Johannesburg Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. And that was one of the most blessed times for me. Can't even lie, because then my mental started to actually take a shift. I started to realize that I must stop feeling sorry for myself, feeling sorry about situations that are out of my control, and just work with the cards I was dealt with. I also got to work with the animals that I love, like it was wildlife. So that was something I always wanted to go into. We're working with vervet monkeys, working with caracals, servals, like barn owls. And what was nice, the other volunteers that were there with me were also around my age. So every week it would be maybe someone new. There's maybe one or two that were also consistent, which was nice to have that network, talk to them. We just chop. Oh, so what are your plans? After this year, I'm also planning to go study veterinary science or vet nursing. And then every year or every week, there'd be a different international student that would come to do the internship there, which was actually amazing for me because they'd come from like Germany, Brazil.
That's a whole new culture and
whole new culture perspective. They come from Germany, Brazil, and like interacting with them, it felt like I was getting that experience of traveling but not traveling at the same time.
Hearing their stories,
See
how
what I'm
they
saying?
live,
How they live, and still while being in an environment that I enjoyed. A lot of the things, and as I continued there, they also trust me more, get to do more things, like be in the operations room while they're operating just to see how things go, or put in the drip for one of the animals if it wasn't a serious procedure and it was something that they just wanted me to learn. So I gained a lot of knowledge there, and I won't lie, I had to grow chest because a lot of those animals were intimidating. When you step in the cage, long day.
I mean, they're wild animals.
They're
so,
wild animals,
yeah.
and I took that for granted. I remember I got smacked up by a monkey. It was crazy. It was crazy but enjoyable, man. So that was my little gap year, and I really took it in. And then that's when linked up with. Then one day, one of our old mates said, "Hey man, we're going out in Pretoria. It's been a minute. Come with us." And I was actually like, "Yo, I haven't been out in quite a while. Let me treat myself, you know what I'm saying? Let me actually do something, be social again." And then all of a sudden, turn around, who I bump into, little Schlau Diddy, man. And then that's when I feel like our journey in PTA really started, because that's when we really reconnected. It was like, wow, Doug, actually, it's been a minute since I've seen you. How you been? And we started to reconnect. So like for me, it was a very wild year, but I was very blessed because things actually started to come together in their own time. I just had to give it time to breathe. But for you, how was it your side in your just first year after school, and also reconnecting? Like how did you find it? Were you also shook like, hey, this is Dax, wait, like what's up?
I mean, I was here in Joburg, so I was living at home in my first year, and I had a very comfortable life, like could be here, drive to uni, drive back. It got repetitive, as it would be. It felt like I was back at school, minus the social aspect because everyone's so split up now. You got people in Cape Town, you got people in Pretoria. The people in Joburg was very limited though. No one really was around in Joburg. So it became a thing where I really enjoyed the varsity I went to, met new people, but the people I was meeting just didn't really connect with the same energy or the same vibe that I was as a person at the time. So me and my one mate that went together, who blessed for him, we went to the same place. We were kind of together all the time. We decided, let's go to Pretoria. It's such a big rave. It's so close, 40-minute drive. We find people to stay by. And we had friends and connections there. And it just became this constant thing of going to Pretoria every Thursday or Friday after uni. That place is a trap, man. I mean, first year, a lot of people thought I lived in Pretoria or studied in Pretoria because I was there so often at the strip, partying. Loved it, don't get me wrong. I think one of the best
Oh, for sure.
experiences ever, 100%. And uni I really loved because it gave me a sense of clarity as well. Like, wow, this is different to the nightlife I live. This is my day to day. Then I go have my nightlife. It gave me that.
This is in Joburg, eh?
Yeah, this is in Joburg. I haven't gone to uni in Pretoria yet in this stage of life. But the learning process of university was so much more, it almost felt laid back compared to school, because school you're told you have to do this, you have to do that. If you don't do this, detention and whatnot. Uni, it comes down to your choices. Now it's up to, do you want to fuck up? Do you not want to fuck up? Do you want to do this task? Do you not want to? And now you're also with so many different random people. You're not with people you've grown up with. Now you're with people from this place, that place, maybe from PE, maybe from Cape Town. Yeah, everyone's so everywhere from the country. And it's really nice. It's just I went to a smaller university, so it's a lot more intimate. Some people are a lot more reserved that I saw. So it was a very different experience to what I was used to, but a good change. I felt that I was on the right course. Then slowly drifting towards the Pretoria side, that's where I go to Summit, I think it was called. And who did I bump into? The young man Ntsika, Nkanunu, eh? And I just remember straight off the bat, it was like, wow, I miss this guy. Like I did not know that our connection was this strong that we could kind of reconnect like nothing had changed. We had like a small catch up, but straight away it was just jawling with each other. And I was like, dude, let's come back here together. Like I'll drive us. It became a new bond of where I'm like, I know Ntsika's in Joburg at least. I have another friend in Joburg, because it was very lonely studying here in Joburg. And then from there, our journey really did begin. I mean, then we started going through to Pretoria most weekends. We stayed at our friends, shout out to them where they were staying. And eventually it got to a chat where we got really drunk the one night and we said, why don't we become roommates? Why don't we live here, And as much as I say that, like in my head, I never thought it was a reality. But when I woke up, it's just one of those where it sticks in your head, even when you're sober. And I was like, you know what, dude?
We're going to see this one through.
We're going to make this happen.
See it through,
and fast forward a year later, after passing uni, transferring from that university to the Pretoria campus of it, there we are, moving into Pretoria, into an apartment, 2-man room.
Day one, man.
And our first thing was, it ain't easy.
Yeah, man, it ain't
It ain't
easy.
easy. The uni life is not easy.
Yeah.
But to start onto that chapter and journey, I mean, wow, what a time, bro. Like, I think that had shaped our true bond and connection. And that's where we saw real growth happen. As much as we saw the lows, we saw the highs. And it was never that we weren't there for one or the other. We were there for all of them. You had a low, I was there. I had a low, you were there. The highs were shared. We almost became like a joint package. Like, hey, Tax, where's Sabin? Or Sabin, where's Ntsika? Like, I think we really were finding our own space, but also growing together, if that does make sense.
No, I like that you said that, because for me, that's where that period specifically, like when we started rooming together, was when we were starting to discover ourselves truly. Like, I know we've been talking about our whole high school experience, how we feel it shaped us, the little bit after, rage, all that. But this, for me, is what's led us to this moment right now, in my opinion. Those 2 years alone was what led us to this moment, because like I said, when we reconnected, I never really realized how much we actually had in common, how much we were alike, and how much of a good time we have when we're just chilling together. So then a lot of things and challenges that we'd have, I feel like, or let's say that I'd have, I feel like you would either understand it very much, or it'd be something that you've also gone through or experiencing. So it'd be easy. So that was why in those 2 years, a lot of growth. We had very similar likes, dislikes, like you were saying, come as a package deal of, hey, Ntsika, where's Sabian? Sabian, where's Ntsika? Like, because we were just so, our bond was that strong, and people saw the relationship that we had, was like, those two are essentially brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like
Dude, to
the
me, I
phrase
think
says
we were so
brothers of-
inseparable.
Yeah, facts.
I think it had to be in terms of, I ain't going if you're not going. And not in a way that we were so dependent, but
Facts.
I need my boy there, you know, like,
No, it's just like
let's
that.
have some support, let's have
strong
some,
brotherhood
you know, it
connection,
was
facts.
just that terms of, I got your back, you got mine, you know, and I loved that we did grow from it because we went through so many trials and tribulations together, whether it was with each other, other people, your side or my side, and I can't recall a time where we were never not there for each other. I think we always had each other's backs, and don't get me wrong, we also allowed each other to do some fucking stupid things. We've had some crazy moments living together, but I think the one part that really got me, and I'm so grateful for, is just realizing, like you said, how similar we were. It was so easy to live with you, and maybe that ties into boarding school as well, because we were able to accommodate ourselves and know to accommodate other people. You know, we knew, like, if you had to study, I got you. I'll either leave the room or be quiet or study as well, because our timetables would be different, you know, or vice versa. I think the only deal we had is if someone brings a girl back, the other one's got to be out.
Hey man, yeah, no, dude. Life at that stage was very, very new and very fun, I'll say. Let me just say it like that, keep it vague. But like you're saying, we're very similar, so things just felt easy. My flops would be something that you've either experienced or would understand fully. And like you're saying, it was easy because I would never feel pressured to be anyone else than who I am. And same here with you. Because that was a big thing for me during that time. I was very much a people pleaser, and always also had this perception that I have to be viewed in this certain way. Otherwise, my life's over, or I need to be cool with these people. Otherwise, I could be viewed as lame or whatever the case may be. I'd allow myself to get in my own head. So that's why feeling like being paired as a roommate with you was a perfect thing, because of just, again, how similar we were. And I never felt that pressure of, I need to put up this front to come across this way for this particular person, because I want them to view me like this, whatever. And it also allowed me to make friends so much more easier, because I knew that my brother's got my back, whatever situation is, and vice versa. So for me, one thing I'll say, looking back at our first year, what would you say was a positive takeaway, and one of the things that, okay, maybe we could have done better here?
Okay, so first, thank you for everything you said, and I can say the exact same. I could be unapologetically myself around you, and I'm so grateful you felt the same, because I'd never want you to feel that you can't be who you are. And I feel like there was a lot of cases where me and you surrounded ourselves with different groups of people, and we did kind of have to put a mask on, because when we got back, it was always me and you would realize, hey, dude, like
maybe we were forcing
something, or you didn't feel nice in that or comfortable in that situation with someone, or what they said, and we could always align and come back to each other. What I really liked, the greatest positive, and I really emphasize this, was so easy to live. I mean, we lived on, I think, the most simplistic way of living. You know, groceries one week this person, groceries one week that person,
Nice.
take out the trash this person, take out the trash. We lived so cohabitly, or so coherently, I don't know the right word, but we could live with each other so nicely that we barely argued. Most of our arguments were over other things that were stupid, and that always involved substances. The most negative part, I could say, and that's just only looking back from who we are currently, because in the moment, I don't regret anything. I think we did abuse substances very heavy, but that's the university life perception, you know, the drinking, the smoking, nicotine. I think it's such a big society norm of university for people to start that. I mean, one of our friends we know from Cape Town, he had never touched liquor, never smoked, never done nicotine until his first year in university. And that already shows the peer pressure or the environment you're throwing yourself into. Because at that stage, you know, the people that stay in are the boring ones. The people that don't go out and go have fun are the boring people. You know, the guys that you say don't have a life. So I think we we might have taken that a bit too much because we people pleasers and we do want to fit in some stage of our life, you know, because it can't, yeah, we can have a friendship, us two, but you know, you start seeing groups and you're like, that seems pretty cool, that seems pretty fun. You kind of influence about the environment that's coming around. So I do think we took our substances very, very far, but not to a detrimental point where our lives were in jeopardy or we were losing ourselves. I just do think, looking back at that little versions of us or those younger versions of us, like, we were idiots. I mean, no regrets, but that's the only negative I would say. I think the positives outweigh the negatives by far.
Oh no, 100%, 100%. Now, like you're saying, it's not to say that we change anything that we did in the past, but also just, you know, reflecting on some of the things that we did. And like you're saying, in that respect of we were people pleasers. And I feel like because we were so similar, it was also a little bit, it worked against us a little bit in the sense of whatever your downfall was most likely my downfall. Like you're saying, we're people pleasers. So with the substances, someone came in, agents, we drinking, both of us would be like, I mean,
I got to stop you there.
well,
I have to stop you there because you've just reminded me of a great story. Because of that, I mean, we're living in apartments now where every student is basically. Like the whole world goes to where we were living. And two of our mates at the time just come open the door. They're like, yo, we're going to strip, you guys down? And at first we questioned it, you know, because we got to know what's the agenda? What are we pushing for? He said, you know, guys, why are we going out? And I just remember it was one of two. It was either I failed a test and we're like, all right, we got you, you know, we support you. Or it was, oh, it's student night. Of course. Like, what question is if it's student night? I think we made a ritual of every Thursday we probably went out.
Facts.
I think every Thursday and every after five-a-side game.
I'll lie. One thing I'll say, adding to that I actually taken a positive, to be fair, was our room. Okay, as much as it turned into a trap house, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I also
I know where you're going with it now, yeah.
I also appreciated just the fact that people felt or enjoy just coming into our space, that people always come in, be like, I'm gonna go chill in Ntsika Sabian's room, see what they're doing. And doesn't mean like we didn't have to do anything in specific.
It was the presence, the company.
Yeah, just the company, and then also getting to interact, like you're saying, at varsity time. It's people from KZN, people from PTA, people from, I don't know, Mpumalanga or wherever the case may be, just from all around coming together. And now you're interacting with people that you didn't necessarily have the same experience with schooling wise, but you're getting to meet them now. And these are people that I know that I can reach out to at any time. As much as we might not be talking now, there's still no love lost. And that's a big thing I do appreciate about our time there, was just the network that we created and the people that we became friends with. I know we were saying that in some situations we might have forced or whatever, but we still had love for those people and we still appreciated the time we spent with them. And we know that Kamala High Water, we can always reach out to them, say, hey, let's go grab a coffee, and not to sound redundant, but it's no love lost. You see what I'm saying? So that's a positive I would take from our negative in terms of our what's this apartment being the
common
area,
the common room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you're saying though, because I think a lot of people get twisted when they lose friendships or those friendships slowly fade away because you grow and your lives go so separately.
You don't communicate as much.
Yeah, I would not turn down anyone that I've met in my life unless they've done me wrong. But a lot of the people we still see or we don't keep in contact with, I mean, I take no negatives from any of the friendships. I am only blessed for the times we had, love the memories, all the shenanigans we'll get up to. And honestly, it's just been great. And I love that you say the network, because down the line, you know, it's about who you know, not what you know. It's a mixture of both, but really it does come down to connections and people, because that's how the world and society is.
Facts.
In a world where we seek communication, we seek connection, I think it really is important. And seeing how many times our friendship group stayed, which you made me think of, not stayed, changed. I'm so happy that me and you were able to stay through and through it. You know, we never, not the word replaced, but we never
fell out with each other.
We never fell out with each other and decided, you know what, we're not going to be friends anymore. We stuck through all the highs and the lows, even if there was another influence in our friend group or other friendship groups we would split off to, because obviously there's different people we still align with. I might not align with what you align in this aspect, vice versa. So it also does make me look back and realize how grateful and strong our bond is. And that's even from not living with each other, just the human beings we are. It really makes me reflect of your core values, my core values, compared to the people we met along the line.
So, yeah, no, it's been a very blessed 2 years, to be fair. But looking back on it, actually, was there any time or any point in those 2 years where, or looking back on them, let me say, where you can say, wow, I've actually grown or I've come a long way to what I used to be doing, let me say?
I mean, definitely 100%. I think the one thing that stays within life is change. It's the most constant thing. You're always changing. You can change for better or worse. It's your decision which way you want to go. But I mean, touching on when we were people pleasers, I think we've gotten a lot better with it. I think there's small hints, but we're definitely doing a lot for ourselves.
100%.
If I look back, I think when we went out, I used to love buying people drinks. I used to love being the guy that's trying to make a good vibe and a good time for everyone, that it would be at my expense. You know, I'll buy the bartender shots. I'll buy this random guy a shot, this random girl a shot, this couple, my mates. Anyone that I was like, you need to have a good time. Let me get you a drink. And I think it got to a degree where I started realizing the intent of people. It became more of, hey, dude, can you give me this drink? Like, you know, it's whatever. Because I made it seem like that's normal for me, that I was just the guy to go to if you want drinks. And I look back at it and I wish I could tell him, like, listen, these people aren't going to stay. They're not really your friends. And don't get me wrong, some of them are still my friends and they're good, you know, like they'll help. They'll be like, I got you this round. Or there's people that do have their payback or repay in some sort of way. But it did get to a stage where I started realizing and identifying who's for me and who's using me. So I definitely do look back and realize I handle situations better now. If I offer someone a drink, it's purely for the intention of, dude, I'm really enjoying your time or whatever. Let me get you a drink. I expect nothing back. But now I'm a lot more careful with my energy and who I give it to. So I definitely think I have grown. And I mean, you were there. You experienced everything. You must have think, Schlau, where's my drink?
I mean, yeah, man, like at that stage in time, to be fair, I was probably as finished as you. So I was also lost. I was just thinking, wow, this guy has a lot of friends, man. This guy Mr. Popular. But at the same time, I didn't want to force anything onto you. So I wanted you to come to that realization for yourself, to be fair. Because as much as I could say, yo, Lau, I feel like you spending a little bit too much on people, like you're saying, that you don't even know, or maybe you're trying to get to know them. Like that was also the thing. I didn't know
What the intention was.
what your intention was. Like I don't want to come stifle you, but that's just how you would socialize, or you felt that's how you'd need to connect with people, whatever, in that scene. So at the same time, it was about you coming to that understanding for yourself. But I could tell you like once or twice, like, yo, now,
Are you sure about this?
Are you sure about this? Are you
I
sure
do. I do recall a few talks where we did come to me and you said, like, is this correct? Now I told you honestly, like, yeah, you know, if it was a problem, it was a problem. But I think a lot of times I overdid it. Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of friendships that have sprouted from it, which I'm very grateful for. I mean, like they say with guys, you just buy a beer and everything's good, or like
You know what I'm saying?
you get a
That's the
drink.
riz sometimes. You know?
I mean, one of the greatest stories I've had is I didn't know him at the time. It was one of our friends' friend. And I got them a drink. And the next morning we hear knock at our door at like 8 in the morning. And they just, yeah, thanks, bro. Like, just really want to say thank you for the drinks. Want to know if I can get you back. And you know, like, I just realized it doesn't hurt to be a good person. But don't be a good person if it's costing you.
Like constantly at your expense.
Yeah, at your expense. You know, it's all about being kindness. But you got to be kind to yourself. You know, give yourself some stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that was the past. You know, we've learned from those lessons. We're still learning new lessons and new challenges. And it was an experience and a journey itself, and we're still on that journey. And now we're heading into the real world. I mean, it's just begun. And the experiences that we've had has all shaped us to these very moments that we carry with us, and what can we learn from them to push ourselves better. And I think me and you are starting this new journey in our own respective ways, but aligned with the correct vision.
No, 100%, 100%. Looking back, like we're saying, especially now that we've talked about these things, and now that's fresh on my mind, these are all things that we understand this was our past. It's not who we necessarily are now or who we are trying to become, especially in this, like you're saying, next phase of our lives. where we're really trying to push our ideals, our goals that are going to build our future and build our generation's future. So it's good, like you're saying, to reflect on these things, and I'm genuinely happy that we had this conversation, because it allows us to reflect on good old times and take also pieces from it and apply it to who will be coming now in this next phase.
So with this being the ending of the first episode of Been There Felt That, I just want to know your closing thoughts and anything you want to leave the viewers with that resonates with them.
So coming to the closing and just listening to this discussion and reflecting on the times we actually had, it's made me realize that there's, as much as I've lived all this stuff, there's still a lot of things that I'm maybe only picking up now, I'm only seeing now, and some key lessons that I can actually take away from it that can help me push who I am now and who I'm trying to become. For example, a big thing for me is my relationship with God now, in terms of strengthening that, being more involved within the Christian community, and just my foundations and who I am as a person, finding myself within it. Because a big thing for me, or scripture that really helped me throughout life now in this phase, is Romans 12:2, just in which it essentially says, don't be conformed to this world or the ideals of this world, but find joy in the renewal of the mind, in that through testing you'll find or come to understand the will of God and understand the good, perfect, and acceptable gifts of grace. So what I essentially take from that is, don't just follow what everyone else is doing or what the world dictates you must do. Find joy in the renewal of the mind, in that yesterday or 2 months ago, a year ago, I might have had a different mindset, different mentality, but now it's a new phase and I'm testing, I'm trying out things, and slowly you'll come to understand the will of God, or what God is trying to put into your life to make you a better person, to put you on the path that you've prayed for, that you've wanted. And through it, you will find eventually what is good, perfect, and acceptable for yourself and for just the path that you're trying to take. So that scripture really speaks volumes to me. It helps me day to day. Also, James 2:26, just in which it's basically, just as the body without the spirit is dead, so too is faith without works. So as much as you can believe in something, also make sure you're putting in the actions to work towards it. Because if you don't, then it's just going to stay a belief. It's just going to stay a dream. It's just going to stay in your mind, essentially. So accept new mindsets, different perspectives, looking at things objectively, and also put in the work towards what you know you want and what you know is good for you. And also, just like these moments, reflect sometimes on things in the past and see what maybe you couldn't see before. Like in this talk, there's a lot of things that I'm actually only realizing now that have applied subconsciously, and it's just amazing to see and sort of profound. But yeah, no, that's me, to be honest, and that's just where my head is at currently.
Okay, so, hey, my tax. Nice to meet you, my boy. Yo. Nice to meet you. You know, this is great for like behind the scenes. Ish. Wait.
I'm just thinking of the nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yo.
Okay.
No, dude, don't stop. Give me time to breathe first, please. Okay.
Has the year been started 2025?
Nah, it's been blessed. I can't even lie. A lot of things I appreciate to do.
How can we do this? Wait, how can we do this? How are we gonna do this? How the fuck are we gonna do this, dude?
No, wait.
How the fuck are we gonna do this?
I stayed composed during the whole thing. Fair. Nah, blessed, brother. Blessed.
I'm sorry. I don't know why. Fuck. Fuck.